So intense, dude. Oh.
Yeah. Okay. So I hear that. I hear that shit a lot. I don't know.
Just the way that you put that to the side.
It's normal for me. Okay.
I know, dude. I miss this so much. I'm so glad you're back, dude.
So you just did that right now. Is that what I'm normally like, or did you exaggerate what I did?
It was a little exaggeration.
Okay.
All right, today we're doing the podcast with Ivan. Thanks for tuning in. Where's my water? I can't drink aggressively. On the lesser side, I was less exaggerated than what you just did. Yeah, dude. Even your joke, even your bit you just did, that was aggressive, dude. Relax.
I can't not do
What
it.
a good start.
Okay.
All right, just make sure that
I'm gonna try to be a little more relaxed now.
we're talking real serious things today.
Whew, we always
I
talk
hope.
real serious things.
I hope.
That's not so bad. Try not to be aggressive with it because it looks like someone was already aggressive with it. It wasn't me. It was definitely someone else that was fucking aggressive with this thing. Not this guy.
Not this guy. What about you? Look like you shrunk. Actually, did you get smaller? Yeah, I'm not.
Wow.
Hey, we have a long going thing, and I'm not talking about the life as meaning shit. I'm talking about me trying to roast you. I've never been able to roast you, and you always go, oh, that means I'm not actually your friend, and you always.
I didn't mean roast like this, okay? I didn't mean actually roast me. You should have known that. If you knew me, I wouldn't mean actually roast me. There's literally one thing, and it's never.
Hey.
I'm gonna go drown my head in the toilet. I can't believe it.
I think everybody who's
It's the
watching,
consequences of my own actions.
everybody who's watching knows that you're not a small dude.
I don't really care about what everybody's watching knows. I kind of care about what you know right now. So it's a little bit disingenuous to just credit the audience with this.
I was scared to dap you up when you got here. And then I tapped your back as we dapped up. And I felt that muscle on your back. If you gave any bit of squeeze, I lost my arm. I would have lost my arm. I would have had to amputate my arm.
Okay, but those muscles are smaller that you felt, is what you're
No,
saying.
I don't know.
Now we got to go for a battle about who's the most insecure. I'm fucked. That's it. It's over. I'm so dead. Oh my God, I can't believe this. Well, it's been fun hanging out with you. Real nice catching up again. I love it. Whew. I don't know if it would be fair for me to pick like an analogous roast back to you. I mean, that's really like below the belt. The smallness. Can you tell most of my personality is working out?
Hey, you're talking below the belt and you're talking about my smallness below the belt? Come on, dude.
Oh my God.
This is my
dick
show.
Size, grow up. You really called me small.
Well, now you're telling these to grow, dude? Come on.
All right, let's maybe just put that conversation behind us.
Now that we got
let's
that.
get something productive. I won't count that as an actual roast.
Okay, fine.
Okay, so think of something like more, polite and appropriate maybe.
You want me to...
No, I don't. I changed my mind. I don't want to be roasted. I don't want to be roasted. I really don't want to be roasted. I thought I did, but I was wrong. I can't handle it.
It's fine. I will only move on if you acknowledge that I still think you're a great friend, and I will not roast you in the typical way I roast my friends.
He loves your personality.
I love both your personalities, but in typical Ivan fashion, Ivan's going to be taking over from here. You got plenty of topics. You're a big thinker. That's why I love having you on. I know you got a couple listed down. What's the first one you want to tackle today?
Yeah, so the first one that I do want to bring up, I read a book. It's called Radical Candor by Kim Scott. Have you ever heard of it?
A book?
You're a teacher, right? Don't play dumb. You're a teacher, right?
All right, wait.
So it's a book.
What's
It's a
it
book
called?
for adults. It's called Radical Candor. It's written by Kim Scott. There's a second book in the series called Just Work. I have yet to read that book, but this book, Radical Candor, I won't say the corny thing that it changed my life, but it's relevant to my career. It's relevant to working as a manager and managing a team.
Okay.
The company's undergone a lot of changes since I've been there, and the team that I'm sort of overseeing has grown really significantly. And I've gone from just training employees, and now what I'm looking to do is actually train another manager, which is going to present an entirely different and difficult set of difficulties. But this book is on primarily giving and receiving feedback, both positive and negative, and best ways to do that to sort of maintain your performance and your perspective and sort of what your employees think of you, how they look up to you as a leader. I did draw a you said you never heard of it, right? You were being serious.
No, yeah,
Okay.
Radical Candor or the author.
So it's got a fundamental concept that she goes into in very great detail. So there's two axes. There's this care personally axis, and then this challenge directly. So you either care personally or you don't care personally, and you can either challenge directly or challenge indirectly.
Yeah, okay, I get you. Like, just in like terms of like leadership, I do just being. Gio actually has it pulled up for us here.
It is. The book does have some notoriety.
So is the claim that radical candor is the challenge directly and care personality?
Care personally.
Personally.
Yeah.
And that's what they're claiming is like the best way to lead.
Absolutely. So if you, I guess radical candor is sort of the best of those quadrants to start with. But if you both care personally and you challenge individuals directly, it'll lead to very seamless communication. This isn't just true at work in a professional setting. It's also true in your personal life, but there's a little bit more of a gradient to it.
Okay.
I guess let's run through the topics, and then we can kind of break each of them down.
Sure.
If you care personally, but you do not challenge directly, that's what's called ruinous empathy. That's where you're prioritizing someone's feelings and the impact of what you're going to say on their feelings, and you prioritize that over directly challenging and addressing what's wrong.
Liberals.
I don't think I'm actually going to directly comment on that.
It is. So for that column,
Yeah.
I've never broken it down into these nice biblical terms and all that, but it's something that I hate about like when people just try to be virtuous. It's like, is this really what's best for the other person? Is caring for their feelings? Or maybe, and it's kind of like the whole breakdown of what like inversion therapy is. Maybe just sheltering them and putting them in a bubble isn't what's best for them. That's what they feel most comfortable, so you're adhering to their feelings. But then they're never able to grow out of that bubble, and now you're sheltering. You're actually doing more harm to them by not giving them that challenge to let them learn for themselves that they can break free, that they can do way more.
Fantastic. So actually, it's almost like you've read that part of the book, and that's exactly what the
thinker,
problem is here. You're a thinker. It was really difficult to deduce that, but yeah, fantastic. Don't give yourself too hard of a pat on the back for that one. And as it pertains to in the workplace, so if you care very, very personally for these people, and let's say it's a manager to employee relationship. They make a mistake on something, and it's a mistake. Everybody makes mistakes. It's going to happen. If you don't make mistakes, you're not learning, blah, 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 blah. Everybody's heard all that bullshit. But instead of addressing their mistakes directly, confronting them, yes, you made a mistake. It's okay. This is how you're going to fix it, and you're going to be held accountable for fixing it. I'm right here. I'm going to work with you on this. But it's when maybe you don't bring up that kind of feedback, or you correct it for them. You do it yourself so that you don't have to directly challenge those mistakes. Because this is a difficult conversation to have. Right. It is easiest to be ruinously empathetic.
Right.
The detriment that comes from that is that they don't grow and they don't learn. And frequently managers that practice ruinous empathy end up having to fire those employees, which is obviously not good for the company, nor is it for that individual.
Right.
But as you explained, again, outside of the workplace, prioritizing someone's feelings, always trying to be so virtuous at the expense of directly challenging what you need to challenge doesn't lead anywhere.
And challenging doesn't have to be combative. You could positively challenge someone like, hey, why did you do it this way? Why did this not succeed? Like, you're not even telling them that they failed. You can question them and challenge them by saying like, why do you think this didn't work out? Let them try to figure out what that is. That's directly challenging someone. Just addressing it, just making sure that they know that, okay, this was not correct or this was not perfect, but it's okay. How do you work past this? Rather than just going, all right, they did it wrong. I'll just fix this and then we can move on. Now they didn't know that they did something wrong.
Yeah.
Because they're like, oh, well, my boss liked the whatever model the data I sent in. He uses it. Perfect. I can move on. I did it right. Next time that report comes on my table, I do it the exact same way. Now again, you have to go and fix the mistakes over and over again. They're never learning how to actually fix the mistakes themselves. They don't even think that they're doing it wrong.
Right.
They think that you like what they're sending you, and they keep doing it that way. So then when you do have to get to that room, like, all right, we got to fire this guy. Now it's even more contentious because now they're like blindsided. Like, what the fuck? Dude, I've been doing all the, you said good on all these things. Like, why
you
are you
didn't
using
provide feedback.
You need that feedback, yeah.
And you mentioned you can challenge directly without being a jerk. I don't know if that was the exact language you used, but the way that you accomplish that is by caring personally. That's what pulls you into the radical candor quadrant. Opposite from ruinous empathy is obnoxious aggression, which you also alluded to. That's when you challenge directly, but you don't care personally. That's basically just an asshole. That's not really caring for someone's feelings. You'll get done what needs to get done. Nobody is going to want to work with you. Nobody's going to like you, and you're being a jerk. There's nicer ways to address things that will more effectively lead people. I'm also wondering, since you interact, what age group do you teach?
5th and 6th. So it's like 10 to 12.
So there's absolutely a component of that requires you to be radically candid. You need to speak to a child, obviously differently than you speak to an adult.
Which one's radically candid?
Radically candid is when you care personally and you challenge directly.
Candor. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the terms, I guess, are a little bit idiomatic. But practicing candor, being radically candid, I think is the best idiom that Kim Scott chose to use. But you need to both care personally, be empathetic towards the individual. You're talking to another human being. You need to think about what you say and how those words will land, but you still need to directly challenge and confront the issue. Then both of you can move on from it.
Right.
So what was I saying?
So the aggressive, like
obnoxious aggression.
That's like, when, my girlfriend comes home and my only, I had 2 chores. I had to do the dishes and vacuum. And she comes home and she goes, "You really didn't vacuum?"
That's obnoxious aggression tending towards manipulative insincerity.
Yeah, now I'm like, well, what the fuck? I did the dishes. I forgot, or I ran out of time. But now I that's not a good lead. That's not someone I want to lead with or work with. If you're only going to point out my flaws, my mistakes, and just be careful. Booze Babe doesn't do this. She's actually very good. We got great communication. But just for the example, when even me in the classroom or something, when I only point out the bad thing that the student did, all right, you got a lunch detention because you keep talking, whatever, you got a lunch detention. And then they come and serve the lunch detention. They're not really learning from it because I just yelled at them for all their time talking, which gave them a little bit of attention. But now they come to the class next time, they go, oh, whatever, it's just a lunch detention. I'm going to do whatever I want. But the first time they did it, they were actually getting some work done. The second time, they go, I'm just going to do this and not do any work. So now I'm a bad leader of the classroom because now I've incentivized, the punishment, the worst punishment is going to be a lunch detention. I don't need to work and I just can do whatever I want. Now you incentivize the wrong thing. I'm on board. I'm on board.
And actually, I like how you mentioned, and I know your girlfriend and you communicate better than that, but I like the example that you use to communication within a relationship. And it's very typical to be immediately frustrated with your partner, especially that's someone that you, in general, we take liberties with our romantic partners that aren't really fair to take and that we shouldn't take. We tend towards obnoxious aggression very easily. If she comes home and sees that the chores aren't done, she chose, and I'm appraising her response based on what?
On the hypothetical.
Obnoxious aggression. Yeah, it never actually happened. She's like, what the hell? Why aren't the chores done? And in your example, you cited back, what the fuck? I've been doing this, I've been doing that. That's also meeting her obnoxious aggression with more obnoxious aggression.
Right.
And instead, one or both of you, and I maybe using the word should isn't the right thing, but should respond in a more radically candid manner, which will pave the way for more effective communication.
So this happens. Both of us have kind of had our situation because it's we both work long days and we both come home and it's we're not taking it out on each other, but when she comes home and the dishes are done, but the vacuum wasn't done and, I left my shoes out and blah, blah, blah. It's I just created more work for her and that's annoying. All right, so she comes and meets me, and I've been home for the past 3 hours chilling on YouTube. So she comes home, hey, why didn't you vacuum? Why the instead of going, what? You didn't notice I did the dishes? I could respond in a more radical, candid manner and say, oh, you know what? That's my bad. I was super lazy. Why don't you go take a shower, start to get ready for bed? I'll go do all this vacuuming and get all this stuff done while you do that. It'll be done before we both go to bed. That's the better way to handle that situation.
Wow, that was also tending towards ruinous empathy a little bit as well.
You think so?
Well, see, when she came up to you and had the obnoxious aggression response. Address the fact that she was obnoxiously aggressive.
Mm-hmm.
Behave again. So your response to empathize a little bit. I know she's had a long day. That is how you're beginning to care personally. So you add that component of empathy into your response. But like, listen, just go take a shower, do your work. I'm not sure of exactly the other words that you just used, even though you just said it. But you don't want to respond in a way that's ruinously empathetic. If she's coming at you with obnoxious aggression, understand where she's coming from. She had a long day at work. She's tired. She was expecting this chore to be done, and this chore is not done. She's feeling a little bit upset. Her emotions are perfectly valid. But I'm going to draw attention to the fact that she shouldn't have said that to me. She should not have treated me like that. I'm going to do this chore, but I also had a long day. I got home a little before you did. I didn't have a chance to do that chore yet, but I should have done it. I'm going to do it right now.
Okay, so that's how you address it, is by saying, I know you've had the long day too. I've had a long day. I'm going to get it done now.
I'm going to do the chore now. I probably should have done it earlier. I was dragging my feet. Be honest, of course.
Right,
I mean,
right.
and again, I'm adding to this hypothetical with like additional information that we hadn't established at the beginning. But there's a reason that you didn't do that chore. She was expecting that particular chore to be done. Communicate to her the reason that you didn't do that chore. Do that chore, because it was your responsibility to do that chore.
That's why I'm like, I don't think it was recklessly empathetic, or what is it?
Ruinous.
Ruinously empathetic to say, go do it. Because like, at the end of the day, the chore was still my job. Like, it was still my duty. Like, you're doing all the other things around the house. I just said I will do these are the things that we both have to work on to get this household clean and organized. So if I said I'm going to do this, I'm not being ruinously empathetic by saying, go do your nightly routine, because you were supposed to do your nightly routine when you got home. I'm just saying, like, rather than, like, getting into an argument about it, like, you say something, or like, because she never comes home aggressive. Like, even when, you know, she points out, like, you really didn't do it. It's like usually like, like, you didn't do it. Geez. Make sure you do it tomorrow.
That's the way you guys usually interact. I'm saying that if you don't draw attention to the fact that she was obnoxiously aggressive to you, and you simply just say, I'm just going to go do it, and you don't draw attention to the fact that she shouldn't have treated you that way, she should not have spoken to you that way, that's not the most effective way to get you to do a chore that, of course, nobody actually wants to do. Now you're no longer directly challenging her, but you're still caring personally. That's the ruinous empathy quadrant. Challenge directly. Directly challenge.
Oh, okay. So I'm just getting caught up on the terms obnoxiously aggressive. Like,
okay.
Because like,
think about the quadrants
like
that they're in.
For her, it's not like she's not obnoxious and she's not aggressive.
Right.
She's just pointing out, like,
those are idioms.
Especially a lot of times, like, it's usually like whether she notices I already did the dishes and didn't vacuum or whatever. She's like, "Are you?" So I actually hate this more when she does like more of a passive thing, like, did you plan on doing the vacuuming today? Like I hate that passive more, but I don't, like, she's not being obnoxious or aggressive. It's usually like, oh, you still did, like, sometimes she knows with my ADHD, it's like, I literally walk into the kitchen to go grab her, like, she sees me get up, I go to grab a bottle of water or something. Hey, can you grab me, the chips or something? Mm-hmm. I come back, sit on the couch, start drinking my water. So no chips. And I'm like, that's not being obnoxiously aggressive.
No, but that is directly challenging, but it is not caring personally.
It is a little bit, but like, I think it's more our banter. So maybe using the girlfriend as the example is the wrong thing, because there's so much subtle banter that like, even in the when I said I like don't like the passive way of like, oh, you're gonna do it today, like, even when she does that, it's in a very, like, our banter, like what we've learned to grow. Like, we know how we communicate. So she's like, and I like to kind of like get insulted or be made fun. Like, I don't know. That's just my personality. I like comedy.
Are you trying to rub it in that I don't like that?
Yeah, I'm directly challenging you. I'm
you
good at
clearly
this shit.
don't care personally.
No. Yeah, I'm obnoxiously aggressive.
I haven't forgotten about it, by the way. I really haven't forgotten about that, by the way.
You won't, dude. Even your fucking, like, eyebrows and forehead Like, it's your magic potion for Thor that makes you God.
What is a magic potion?
What is magic potion?
Water.
What? Oh, you're saying water?
Yeah, it's
is
my magic potion.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Anyways, all right. What's
The last one, which isn't particularly common in individuals that you know or have a relationship with, is called manipulative insincerity. And I mean, of all the terms, that might be the idiomatic aphorism that is the most fitting. When you neither care personally, so you're not behaving in a way that's empathetic to that individual or those individual's feelings, and you don't challenge directly. But generally, the lack of directly challenging is also due to the fact that you don't care personally as well.
Right.
To think of an example of what that would look like, I mean, actually, sarcasm, when not used in a humorous way
Right.
with a stranger.
Yeah, like sarcasm with my girlfriend works because she knows when I'm being sarcastic. Like if I say something, actually not always, because sometimes my jokes don't land, and then I go, "Well, I was a joke. It was a joke." but yeah, especially when it, like, if you work in a big office, like there's a lot of people that you work with, certain people that you work more closely with. So if you give somebody else that sarcasm or like even passively challenge, I'm trying to think of like a way I could passively challenge someone in like in a cubicle, like an office building setting. What would I do? Would it work? Like, would it be manipulative? What's it called?
Insincerity.
Manipulative insincerity. If it's kind of like ratting on someone, like, oh, this person's never like, you go to your boss and say, hey, Sally down the hall, like, sucks, man. She hasn't got me. I've sent her like 3 emails, like going over someone's head.
Yeah.
When you don't
and
need to.
To even extrapolate on that, instead of you saying Sally sucks, you'd be like, everybody says Sally sucks. Because then it's like, you're not saying that you think Sally sucks.
Right.
You're kind of blaming everybody else. And it's like, well, who's everybody?
Yeah.
I don't want to suck. It's even less direct.
Right.
Yeah, that would be an example.
I do love this. I mean, this whole like map is very obvious to me. So it's kind of like sad that this guy was able to write a book that certain people go, oh, being direct is good. Oh, being considerate is good. Like
well,
the fact that like,
well,
I didn't read the book, so
yeah. It's generally the context of this is in leading other individuals and managing an effective team.
I did forget.
It pertains to communication within relationships, interpersonal communication, but it's generally when leading a team and you are a manager and you want to get something out of your team. You want your team to be productive. You want to inspire those individuals. You want to motivate those individuals. You don't want those individuals to burn out, but you are giving them work to do. They are expending precious days of their life to come accomplish results for your team. Mm-hmm. That is sort of maybe the primary pretense of the book.
Yeah. So what is this book taught you? How have you formed your managerial steps now?
So I definitely tended towards ruinous empathy when I started, and that feeds into what I mentioned, imposter syndrome. But I prioritized an emotional connection with every member of my team, which has just been, I guess you could say, my leadership style. And I know that doesn't make me necessarily unique, but I do need to have some kind of an emotional connection with each and everybody on an individual basis, and then I kind of bring them into the team, and then the team works together, but I also have these individual connections with each of them, and learning where to set effective boundaries with that. And I'm not saying like I've struggled with like setting boundaries inside and outside of work, but getting to know people on a personal level, but also being able to get what I need out of them and deliver feedback to them, especially if that feedback is negative, also if that feedback is positive. I can have a very good connection with someone. I know a lot about their life. You know, we've talked with each other about, relationships, families, hobbies, interests, things like that. They know that I like them, that I like their work style, but now I need to deliver negative feedback. It can't be that negative feedback makes them think, well, I thought he really liked me. Now he must hate me. Being radically candid is a way to deliver that negative feedback so that the relationship is not harmed. And it isn't meant to be harsh. It's simply meant to be direct.
Right.
When that feedback becomes harsh and I stop caring as personally, that tends towards obnoxious aggression, which has never been my style. I almost wish I could go into specific examples. I kind of feel like that's a little bit inappropriate. But the problem with being ruinously empathetic for too long, which is what I ran into, is I had to become obnoxiously aggressive for a little while to counteract that point and self-correct. And now I behave in a way I believe that is as most radically candid as I can be. Yeah, go ahead.
See, I think, and I'm not trying to just like boast or whatever. I think my personality, my leadership like personality tends to be almost radically candor. Like that's kind of where I just naturally fall. But I don't know like when it really started, but one of the things that I've like been noticing, especially talking about this and seeing this laid out in this kind of metric, my care personally, I've just thinking about like the past like 3 years.
Yeah.
I think that's where I, fault or like that's where I lack. I lack on the caring personally. I have always been, or at least in my like adult, like since I've turned like 25, I've been really good about just being direct. I think it's one of the most important things, being genuine, authentic, and direct. Like those are the things I like to address. There's a lot of times where I say something to even like Booth Babe or whatever, my girlfriend, and she gives me a look and I go, oh, this was me just being way too direct. Like you can't just say there's like, I think it's pretty well known that humans are going to find other humans attractive.
Yeah.
When you're in a relationship, it's okay. Like you're going to see, like sometimes we're watching a reality TV show, like, Too Hot to Handle or Bachelor or whatever. And my girlfriend will be like, he's cute. Or, oh, wow, she's beautiful. Like, and I'll do the same thing. And like, that's fine. But in public or something, I can't go some random girl walk by like, yo, check that out. Oh, damn, she's hot, huh? Like, you can't say that. Like, there is a boundary about like being direct. And I because I focus so much on, I want to be direct. I want to just say what I think and what I feel, and I don't really care. I miss out on some of those caring personally moments. So like even on that like graph, if I do truly fall naturally on radical candor, it's definitely towards the lower half and often, or if anything, like would cross over to the obnoxiously aggressive. I feel like that's more so where I would say like almost like right on that line.
Okay.
Of being direct.
Let's get an example. So let's say your company, it's I don't even know, like company, you're in advertisement, you're in marketing or something like that. Okay. So definitely like a white collar job, and there's maybe it's a hybrid role. So you interact with your employees a few days a week, and then there's some work from home opportunities that they take advantage of as well. And there is a finite amount of PTO that can be taken per year. And then the company institutes a 10-day PTO notification policy where you need to request your paid time off 10 days before it's approved. And you have an individual that starts asking you a lot of questions about it. Like, well, what if I request 2 hours 5 days before? Let's say,
like request 2 hours off.
Yeah, and they say,
before.
can I have 2 hours off 5 days before and put that in for PTO? How would you respond to that request in a radically candid way?
In a radically candid way. I feel like this, just based off of like the scenario you've outlined, I feel like that I just am already thinking about like, all right, do I have like if it's a doctor's appointment or something, like I think I think I could be a little more like lenient, but I think I would focus more on, all right, you want to take that time off. There's got to be some type of deadline or whatever their job is. I'm like, if you have your reports in by tomorrow, I'll let you take that time off. Let's
maybe add another angle to it.
Sure.
Let's say like it can't be approved. The company has a 10-day PTO notification policy. Yeah, how would you say no?
Because you said there's also the like virtual days off.
There's work from home time.
Work from home.
You know what? Let's make these. It's a fully in-person job.
Fully in-person job.
Everybody has to be there 40 hours a week. Someone's asking for a few hours off, but it's within that 10-day notification period. You need to say no to them. In their mind, they think this is a very reasonable request. They're fully aware of what the rules are.
I have to say no to this person.
Yeah.
How would I say no to this person?
In a radically candid way.
Well, it won't be radically candid. I'm a very by the book person. Like literally in my, like I bring like a couple folders and a binder to all my classes. Like that's just what I carry around with my water bottle and my laptop. one of the things I keep in those folders is like multiple printouts of the code of conduct.
Okay.
So if a student does something that they're not supposed to do, like throw an eraser across the room, I take out one of the printouts, I put it on their desk, I grab my highlighter, and I highlight, throw or projectile, whatever.
Yeah.
And then I circle the punishment is office detention or something.
Okay.
I go, I know you didn't mean to. I know you think this is severe. I also think this is severe. So this shouldn't be happening in the classroom. Why did you think it was okay? And let's just do a teacher detention instead. So it's not on your permanent record, but you're not allowed to do this. There's a consequence, okay? So that's how I would handle something like that. But to say no to someone, here's how it would go. Just improv it. You're coming to me. I'm in my office. All right.
Hello, Mr. Sir. I don't know. That's the first thing I can think of. So I understand the company recently instituted a 10-day PTO notification policy, but I was wondering if I could take a couple hours off on Friday.
Did you submit the request within the 10-day notice?
No, not yet. I'm asking you right now if I can submit that request and if it'll be approved. I
mean, you can submit something. It's got to be 10 days. I'm not the one who, set this policy up. So I am at jeopardy if I have to, or if I sign off on this and you go out. So please, in the future, give it the 10 days. If you want to submit something to the, CEO and see if they'll approve it, I just can't approve that for you today. Please be more aware of the 10-day policy.
Come on. You're my direct supervisor. I'm only asking you for a couple hours.
I can't let you take a couple hours because what if I wanted to take a couple hours right before this meeting? Where am I going to go? Who are you going to ask? If I just took a couple hours, if I didn't give my 10 days.
Yeah, but you didn't take a couple hours. You're here right now. I'm just asking you. It's just a couple hours. It doesn't seem like it's that much. It's not a whole day.
You said it's just a couple hours?
Yeah.
All right. Well, just a couple hours that you can work. All right. I'll see you in the office.
Oh, my God. No way.
Hours.
So then the thing is, and I'm not trying to shit on you, obviously, but you're going to lose the respect of that individual. That individual is not going to be motivated to work with you or work for you or contribute to your growing effort as a team.
But because I feel like the more radical candidate. So I want to try a couple more options. What if I said something along the lines like, all right, do you have all your stuff in for this week?
Of course I do. I'm a top performer.
Did you consult with someone in your office that can cover you for the 2 hours? Who's going to cover you for those 2 hours?
I'm not sure yet, but I could very easily find someone. And if that means that I'd be able to get that time off, I'd be happy to do that.
Why don't you go by the end of the day? Let me know a couple people who you said can that you can cover you, and I'll look them over. And if I approve one of them, then I'll give you the time off.
Okay.
See me tomorrow.
Okay.
So then, if you see me tomorrow and I don't like those options, sorry.
Okay. But now what you've done is ruinous empathy.
I know. I feel
you
that.
felt it. You felt it coming, right? So the thing is, now that individual is going to very much trust you. They're going to go to you because they know that they can get outside of the rules and kind of screw the rules over a little bit because you're going to take care of them. They might end up following your lead for a little while, but now essentially what you've done is you've compromised the vertical leadership of the company. You've made everyone above you look like an ass, and you're the special guy that goes along.
Right. Okay. So what if I go, all right, let's step out of my office real quick. Can I get everyone's attention? Ivan here wants to take 2 hours off on Friday because he says he has something important. Company policy says 10 days. He didn't submit it in 10 days. What do you guys think we should do?
Oh my! So that's manipulative insincerity.
Oh fuck yeah!
Okay,
So, the whole cycle.
So it's
fuck his minute. Out. Fired. Gone.
God, that's hilarious. That was actually funny. Yeah. So now it's a personal conversation. That individual wanted to have a conversation with you. They did not want to have a conversation with everyone else. And what you've done is you've externalized that conversation. You know what? You're saying, no, this is a stupid question. I'm going to show you how stupid it is. Hey, everybody, who else thinks this is a stupid question and a stupid guy? That person is never going to respect you. You're not going to be able to keep a member of them as a member on your team.
Oh, yeah. All right. So dude, I love this. All right. Okay, you should just tell me. How is
I guess in this
best
particular
approach?
instance,
All right,
I
I'm
am,
coming to you. We're gonna improv this one.
okay.
Hi, Mr. Sir. Uh, my girlfriend got really sick. And she has an oncology appointment on Friday, and it's at 12 o'clock. I should only need 2 hours. I can be back in the office by 2:30. Can I just make sure I can take her to the appointment and drop her back off? I'll be back by 2:30 that day.
Okay, you sound like Professor Quirrell, so I'm going to call you Professor Quirrell. But listen, Professor Quirrell, I'm extremely sorry to hear that. I hope everything's going to be okay with your girlfriend. You did say it was on Friday, right?
Yeah. I know. We just came up. We just found out about a malignant, birthmark that she had last week or over the weekend, and I didn't have the 10 days to submit a request.
Yeah, no, I understand. And actually, my grandmother had cancer last year. It was really, really difficult to go through, and I really hope everything is going to end up being okay with her.
Yeah.
However, it is within that 10-day PTO notification policy. You did get a chance to read the rules of conduct, didn't you?
I did sign off. Yeah, that I did.
You did sign off that you
did,
read it?
yeah.
Okay. So the reason that we have these guidelines in place is because this company is growing. And as we continue to grow and hire more people, we do need to have some rules and regulations in place so that the company can continue to function effectively as a team and as a cohesive unit. Do you think, given these guidelines, you're still going to be able to function as an effective member on this team?
I plan to. That's why I already know I'll be back in the office by 2:30. I'm asking for 2 hours, but I can use like my half hour for lunch, and then I'm really only gone for an hour and a half. It should be quick.
Yeah. So again, what I'm asking you is, do you think, given these guidelines and these guardrails, you're still going to be able to work effectively within them?
I hope your grandmother died, dude. Fuck off. Is that a mean enough joke that still crossed? I didn't roast you. I wasn't directly about Ivan.
No, that's fine. No, but so again, it was a very reasonable ask, but it was an unreasonable ask given the rules that are in place. What's going to happen, that individual's going to take some unpaid time off. They're not going to be stuck being at work. They're just not going to be able to take their PTO per that company's policy.
Oh! I didn't even think of that.
Well, it wasn't supposed to be a trick or anything like that.
Yeah,
You're able to. Okay.
You could. The person could still leave. They can't get paid time off.
Yeah, I said it was PTO. Well, now it feels like I fucked the game up a little bit.
No, you didn't.
But for a minute, you see how it.
Right.
These are guardrails. These are regulations. Can you work within those?
Which is kind of why, like, this is why I said I think I naturally fall in that radical candor.
Except you did all three of them, but radical candor.
No. My first approach was like I bring the code of conduct. So if they go, oh, I didn't read the rules, I go, well, here's the rule.
Okay, but then
this is the standard in the classroom.
And that question could still be asked. Like, yeah, so I have read the rules now. I signed off on them, but I'm asking you, can we go outside the rules? The answer is no. We cannot go outside the rules. These rules are here for a reason. The question is, can you work within these rules? If you can't work within these rules, what is your place here? That wouldn't really come to that. The answer is,
I also see how, like, in that scenario, you're being both direct and caring personally, not just to the individual who's asking or requesting you kind of bend the rules, but you're caring personally about everybody else in that office. Because if your company really is trying to grow, then, like, you can't have a little leniency here, a little leniency there, not just because like, oh, well, if everybody takes 2 hours here every week, then you miss out on so many hours, but also because of like, all right, that guy comes back. Now, all the other people in the cubicle go, fuck that guy.
Yes,
that guy sucks.
Exactly.
He has something in it. Now they also hate him and they hate you and they like.
And then everybody's trying to get around the rules.
Right.
So you need to, again, there needs to be respect for the rules, for the regulations, for vertical leadership, for everybody that's above you. You represent the managers that are above you to every single member of your team. The rules need to be respected. You also, what you did mention is that then everybody else would be trying to sort of take advantage of those rules. Right. You can't really say in a radically candid fashion, listen, I want to do this for you, but I can't because then I'd have to do it for everybody. Because again, that likewise externalizes the issue right here.
That's like the manipulative one, right? A little bit.
It's not directly, because it's not that I want to give you what you're asking for. I can't give you what you're asking for, and I don't want to give you what you're asking for. But you need to understand why I'm not going to give you what you're asking for.
No, because you're not really caring personally, because you're not going to give them what they're asking for. And you're also not being direct, because you're saying, well, I can't let you because I can't let everybody else. So you're being manipulative by saying, like, I can't let it's not I would let you. I would definitely let you, but
because you
but,
wouldn't.
But the other people I can't because of the other people.
Exactly.
So you are being manipulative. Like that's where I thought that landed on the. You're not being direct. You're not saying the actual reason why, which is it doesn't fall within the rules. Does it still fall under radical candor if you said like all like the way you just did it, like when I came in, you're like, no, it's the rules. We're trying to grow. Do you really think you can be effective if you're, taking this time off and et cetera? If I said, no, this time you can't because of all the reasons that you said, but I will speak to upper management and see if we can implement a new policy that provides a little more leniency for, unforeseen, circumstances. Like if it was about like, not you are being direct. So like, if as long as you do it in good faith, you actually go to the upper management and say, hey, I had this guy come in my office and his wife has cancer. He was literally just asking if he could use his lunchtime and then just have an extended lunch to bring his wife. And I felt really bad having to say no. And I just would hate to lose morale in this company if we are just so inconsiderate. So I wanted to know if we could implement a new policy that, the normal 10-day PTO is still a standard, but with certain medical or doctor notes, can we find a new solution for like shorter term?
Wouldn't that just be sick time though?
No, wait.
Well,
we're taking.
Not all companies have sick time.
We're just, and for the sake of the example, like maybe we could have picked a better example. But so I actually love that was an example, because now what you've done is you've changed the. It was a bad example, by the way. Just so you know,
one I just gave.
So you know where I'm going with that.
Okay,
so yeah, the
I thought he was
the employee that wants to kind of go outside the rules is coming to you.
Yeah. You
told the employee that you're going to appeal to upper management to change the rules. Now you are the employee trying to go outside of the rules, going to management to try to change the rules. I'm not
trying to go outside of the rules.
But you're trying to have the rules changed to cater to someone else. So you have changed the conversation. But you are essentially equivalent to that employee coming to you to go outside of the rules, going to upper management. Upper management is not going to change those rules. Upper management made that decision.
Right.
Now, can you work within these guidelines? Can you manage your team with these guidelines? Right. If you are asking me to change, if I'm the CEO and I put these rules in place and I have a manager coming to me asking me to change these rules, my question to them will be, can you manage your team within these guidelines? Can you have your team functioning here?
I see.
So I would never suggest, you know what, listen, I'm going to take care of you. I'm going to go talk to the big boss upstairs and see about changing the rules. That individual will trust you. That individual will not trust the C-suite individuals.
Outside of this like leadership.
Yeah.
As like a personal thing, even if I don't because I don't want to put hopes into someone's ears,
Sure.
So I don't. I just do the same conversation we had. Like, no, unfortunately, if you see yourself growing with this company, you're gonna have to say it. Put it 10 days in advance, and I don't tell them that I'm gonna talk to upper management, but you have your quarterly meeting and you meet with the upper management and they're gonna bring on the table all right, any other requests or stuff. At that point, is it hey, you know what? Here's something that came up recently. We all know about the 10-day policy, but there's unforeseen things. Is there flexibility or a way in which we could work something in for certain scenarios and outline those scenarios? Like what scenarios could qualify for this type of service? And then isn't that kind of like what unions and stuff would do?
Sure. And that's actually a much better example because that's a completely different discussion. That's not you taking a conversation that you had with a member of your team and telling that person, listen, I'm going to take care of you. I'm going to go deal with those guys upstairs. That's at a quarterly meeting or whatever, a time that's designed to be collaborative, where you revisit certain policies that keep the company functioning. Now you can bring that up, definitely cite some specific examples, and you say, I'm having a bit of a difficult time managing my team. This is why. Can you guys help me so that I can make my team work a little more effectively? Yeah. That is an entirely different discussion.
That's constructive.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah. Because it's not predicated on an employee's needs right now, and you're prioritizing their feelings above all else.
Yeah, like, and even in my example, like, that person would still have to apply to the 10 days. I would try to enact change for future, like, because that's what, my knowledge, I'm interested in the legal system and like, contracts and legalities and all that stuff. Like, I love like police videos and like the lawyers break down like the Johnny Depp trial last year or whatever. Like, that was fucking so awesome for me to watch. I just enjoyed all the jargon. But where was I going with this? So of the rules, like, I lost my point. Never mind.
Oh, shit. I'm sorry to hear that. I hate when that happens. ADD. So no chips, huh?
Call back of the century. Not bad. Not bad.
Oh, that's funny.
So what else do we have on this Radical Candor?
Yeah, actually, so I am interested. So things have certainly changed for me since last time I've been here. Now I'm single again. I've been dating for a little while, and when I believe I first got connected with you, you were single at that point.
I was single.
Is that correct? So now you've been in a relationship for a couple years, and now I'm single.
Yeah.
How old are you, if you don't mind me asking?
I'm 27.
You're 27. Okay, I'm 30. So finally, actually, almost 31.
Wow.
It's fucking nuts. Oh, shit, I know. But actually, not a bad time to be single. You know what I mean? People kind of generally know what they want towards their 30s. They just may or may not be a little bit afraid when they actually find it. I'm interested in knowing, have you ever heard of anxious attachment and avoidant attachment?
Anxious attachment
and avoidant attachment. And secure attachment.
And secure attachment.
Yeah.
I'm guessing this is similar to like love languages, in the way that like everybody falls under a bracket, kind of like it's a spectrum and everyone kind of has, or is it like a specific action, like anxious attachment versus what is the other one? Avoidant. Like, it's a conscious action that you do. Is that what it is?
A little bit. So the thing is, the problem that I have with love languages is it's very pseudoscientific. And it also relies heavily on like positive association. You kind of pick a certain thing, like, I don't even know what are some of the physical touch or something, and you're like, oh, well, I like that. I like cuddling.
Yeah, it's very confirmation bias. Yeah.
It is, exactly. Whereas anxious attachment, avoidant attachment, and secure attachment, not to say that it's particularly scientific, but there are more elements of psychology that play into it. So an anxiously attached individual is starved for attention, and this goes back to their childhood, and I'm not trying to throw blame on any parents or anything like that. I don't have kids. I know nothing about parenting or how difficult that is, and whatever other possible disclaimers that I can give. I'm not a psychologist. I'm not a doctor. I have no fucking idea what I'm talking about. An anxiously attached individual.
If anyone's coming to Ever-Changing Vibe for facts and logic and helpful life advice, stop. Get some help.
So an anxiously attached individual, what is hypothesized occurred is when they would cry or when they would seek attention from their parents would not provide them the attention that they wanted.
Oh, like Freudian. Okay.
Created this feedback spiral where they learned that the attention-seeking behaviors that they display do not yield the results that they want or need. So when someone gives them attention, they grab a hold of it extremely tightly for fear that it might disappear or go away. This in turn can be seen as suffocating to another individual and of course pushes them away, which is ironic and counterproductive.
Right.
Now the avoidantly attached person is a little bit different. So an avoidantly attached person, they may feel that it's extremely difficult and rare to find a genuine connection in somebody. When they start to meet someone and get connected with them, and that person starts to learn about their life a little bit, that person maybe starts to realize or understand things about them that they don't know about themselves, or maybe things about them that they're not even ready to understand about themselves. That person in a way just knows them and maybe exploits, that's not a great word, not exploits, but showcases areas that highlight lacks of that individual's self-awareness. That individual becomes very threatened and scared and pushes that attention away immediately, which in turn obviously affects and damages the relationship. Typically, ghosters are avoidantly attached.
Is because like you said with the anxious one, it's like a baby who cries and then like doesn't get the response they want, kind of like build and grow into that personality trait. Is there like something from like a Freudian connection to the avoidance attachment or no?
Not so much from what I've read about
like
avoidant attachment.
Yeah.
There's a method of parenting called Ferberizing, where you're supposed to let the child self-soothe, which has been studied, I wouldn't say comprehensively, but it has been studied and shown that can develop into limbic depression when people get older. You are supposed to coddle a baby when a baby cries because all a baby knows how to do is cry.
What did you say?
It's a type of depression. So what is caused when a child is Ferberized and they're supposed to cry it out and self-soothe, the child doesn't learn to self-soothe. What the child learns is that crying doesn't get them the attention that they want. All a baby knows how to do is to cry and eat and sleep and shit, but those happen subconsciously. So crying is a conscious action the child can do. It's really the only child's way of communication.
Yeah.
You are not supposed, and again, I don't have children, so I don't know. But you are not supposed to just let a child cry for hours on end. You are supposed to coddle them and hold them. And I know, again, for new parents, I'm sure that sucks.
Right.
When the child's just crying all the time, you probably don't know what to do. It's a little bit of stressful situation for both.
I can imagine.
But all the child knows, imagine you have no words, you have no linguistic skills, no language. All you can do, it's like pure binary. And you can say one word or you can say nothing. All you can do is say that word. Well, saying nothing doesn't yield any result. So you're going to use that one word that you know. And if that word doesn't get you the response that you need, you're going to freak out. Right.
So now for the avoidance, like when you're with someone who starts tapping into things that you didn't even know about yourself,
they get to know you. It's when they get to know. So, like for example, you figured out that I don't like being called small. That I base a significant amount of my self-worth on working out. No. I'm not saying I'm avoidantly attached. But like I'm like, oh fuck, like he knows that. You know what I mean? You've appraised that will be a roast. Like that will get to me. So if I was particularly avoidantly attached, that would be something that I really ponder and think on, and in turn I may let that affect our relationship, or I may not choose to interact or divulge as much of my personality to you for fear that you're going to continue to get to know me. Or I may even dramatically totally ghost and push that individual entirely out of my life. Right. So the ghosters typically, not always, but typically are avoidantly attached individuals, and like the suffocating, smothering people are the anxiously attached.
Yeah. And then you said the secure, I'm guessing that's just like
a little bit more self-explanatory. Yeah.
Do you think it's so like if you're typically an anxious attachment or an avoidance attachment, do you think it's the type of person you are with? Because like if you have that avoidance attachment, but the person you are with, when you get to that point where you start avoiding them, they crack your code and you actually change and find the secure attachment through the person. Like can the right person fix you is what I'm asking.
I would say you could be fixed. There's nothing wrong with you. You're not broken. But I just the language makes it a little bit difficult. But absolutely, and it might be a little bit on that person, but also I would say more of it is going to come from you being self-aware to know that just because this person is giving you attention, it doesn't mean you need to push them away. You have nothing to necessarily worry about. That threatening feeling that you feel of them getting to know you better and getting closer to you does not mean you're in fact threatened. It's a response that has been conditioned or you've conditioned yourself to throughout your life. And that is something, again, with proper self-awareness, you can learn to unlearn. Now, what that individual can do, you could communicate to them like, listen, I'm a little bit avoidantly attached. That's why I'm still single in my fucking 30s. And like, if I start to push away, like I need a little bit of space, you need to just let me have my space. I need that space. That space is going to be critical so that we can continue to get to know each other. Now that individual knows that you display attributes of someone who's avoidantly attached. They can give you a little bit more space when you need it. Maybe ideally you don't have to particularly ask for it. That individual can attune more properly and read you, understand that you have these needs and that you're trying to work through it, and this is how you're going to work through it.
So this brings me back to our first topic, being direct.
Okay.
Because I think this is what's worked so well. I give a lot of credit to my girlfriend for helping me become the man I am today. But I do I'm not giving her credit for making me the man I am today, but helping me tap into that.
Okay.
Because I've always been really good about being direct. And I'm trying to think back to like when we first started dating. I feel like there were times where I kind of showed more of an anxious attachment. And then there were also times with the same girl that I showed avoidance attachment.
Mm-hmm.
But I think what worked wasn't her, sticking with me and helping me navigate it. It was me being self-aware and then direct in the way you just explained, like, and saying like, hey, look, in the past, the relationships I've had, I start to get anxious and superstitious about, a certain scenario because when I was with like two of my ex-girlfriends, when something similar started to happen, I was broken up within a month. One of them I got cheated on, and another one, we just parted ways, and it kind of ended messy. So like, I really like you. I really care about you. I don't want to see that happen. I'm just telling you, like, I'm kind of avoiding you right now, and I am not doing it intentionally. It's just like this little coping mechanism I'm doing. And then when she understood that, like, I remember that a phone call in the studio, like, I didn't text her like for like Friday, Saturday, I was up late doing a podcast. I did like 2 podcasts.
Yeah.
I stayed up late. I got up Sunday morning. I had another like guest coming that afternoon because it was like February vacation or something. And she like texted me at like 11, a couple hours before my guest got there.
Yeah.
And was like, hey, can you just, let me know. I just hope everything's okay, blah, blah, blah. And just her saying like, I just want to know that you're okay and whatever was like all the comfort I needed to go call her and like, look, I realized the past 2 days I wasn't texting you back because I was getting nervous and scared that I think that's what it was. I started becoming too anxiously attached, caught myself doing that. So then try to like totally like, pendulum swing all the way over to avoidance. And then when she called, like, she didn't even call me out on it. She was just like, I just care about you. I want to make sure that you're okay. Like when I was, last time I think I might have texted her or whatever. And she like knew I went to bed drunk or something. She's just like, I just want to make sure that you're alive. Like, that's why I called her. And I was like, yeah, I'm alive. And, I feel a lot more, confident and happy and less anxious about losing this relationship. And like, I don't feel like I have to avoid you. I was doing that all weekend, but now I recognize it. And now she's able to understand. And then it made like, because it would happen like a couple more times throughout the next couple months. Because this is like 3 months into dating. So a couple more times throughout the months, but like she would recognize it. And sometimes she would text me like, hey, if you need your space, that's fine. Just text me or call me or just know that I'm around if you have some time and want to talk. And like just understanding where I was coming from was my gateway to opening up and finding, this is what I was saying, like she didn't create the man that I am, but she helped me find the man that I am. So I could be that for her and like, come out of this anxious and avoidance. And now that we've been together for 1.5 years, like I haven't had one of those moments since she's moved in like a year ago. So. Okay.
Yeah. So I guess certainly characteristics of both are probably likely to manifest. Generally, and again, it's not something that's very comprehensively studied, one individual tends towards one or the other in an extremely dramatic fashion. But it's certainly, I would say it's possible. And certainly with couples, stereotypically younger couples, it's a little bit easier for them to be anxiously attached. And there's the thing with texting, which is extremely detrimental, I think, in the early stages of a relationship, especially for young individuals. Now, it's obviously different for every couple. There's some people, friends, whatever, that I'm happy to just text absolutely all the time.
Yeah.
And the communication in person just sort of transcends very well. But maybe perhaps in the very first few weeks of dating someone, texting a lot on end can be extremely detrimental as it sort of sets this precedent that can't be kept up with. And then once the texting fades away, an individual who has a lot of anxious attachment will like, pick up on those cues.
Why are we not texting as much? Is something wrong? Am I doing wrong? Am I not getting the text? Why am I not? What am I doing? Am I doing too much? Am I not texting enough? Now I text way more.
Yeah, literally anxious. But you also mentioned So I'm not sure how would I even characterize the thought, but you mentioned experiencing something from 2 previous relationships and then seeing that manifest again.
Yeah.
That is another thing that I think people reference. Like, hey, listen, I've seen this behavior before. Someone else has said the same thing to me, and this is how it played out last time. Now, if we try and fit that onto the radical candor thing, so like, you're in a relationship with someone and they say something and that particular thing elicits a certain response in you because you've heard someone say it before and you know exactly what followed them saying that before. It's extremely unfair for you to behave in the same way. You don't have insight into what that person is or who they are or what they're saying. You simply have heard someone else say that before. So you're blurring the lines of individuality. You're making that other person, you're discounting the fact that other person is a different person. Even if you've seen it 2 times before, 3 times before, I guess it really depends what it is.
So it's definitely not something that they said.
Okay.
It's usually an action, and it's usually like an action over like a 2 or 3 day period. Like it's they want to go do something with their friends, and then they want to go do something here, and then they want to do something that they want to do, and then that whole time, I'm like, when do I get to do my thing? And then it's like dismissive when it comes up my point. Like that was an example of something that trigger. I've learned a lot, and I think it also speaks to my maturity going into this relationship, where it wasn't what the girl did or replicating the patterns of like the 2 girlfriends before, but it was replicating the patterns of myself and 2 other girls before. So when, when I would avoid her and just like, I'm going to wait 2 hours to answer back your text. And I started to catch myself doing those things. I'm like, I'm not like scared of this relationship ending because of something you said to me or something that you did.
Yeah.
I'm starting to repeat my past behaviors that led to 2 other failed relationships.
Okay.
And I don't want to do that again with someone that I really care about. Like I really like this I really like Booth Babe. I really want that to work. And I caught myself doing those things. So like my anxiousness or like fear of losing this relationship was the things that I was doing myself.
Okay.
Whether she sometimes it'd be like what I'm doing, because we weren't living together at the time, like what I'm doing when she's not around. Like, why am I, just like for 6 hours in a row, just thinking about, how I'm going to respond to the text and not just replying to the text? And why am I getting insecure when she's choosing to go hang out with friends, on the night that I have off, and I was like, oh, I was really excited about, finding something to do that evening. But it's like, well, you planned that for, 2 months in advance to hang out with your friends. You met me 2 months ago. You didn't know that I was going to have a date. So I had to start to recognize the patterns that I was doing.
Okay.
And because I would start to do that and then go, all right, let's just do it the toxic way that I used to do it. But now, with the girlfriend I have now, I was like, wait, I caught myself starting to have some of those toxic thoughts and no, you're not going to do that. She doesn't know what's going through your head. You have to be direct. You have to tell her hey, I was really hoping we could hang out today. I hope you have fun with your friends. Maybe we can do something tomorrow. I had to learn how to do those things so that I wouldn't exhibit the anxious and avoidance or any of the insecurity in my attachment, so that I could make it work. And this is why I'm saying she didn't make me a good person. She helped me find the man that I was supposed to become.
All right, that makes sense. And again, you do use the word triggering. I
didn't use the word triggering once.
Yeah, you did.
No.
Oh, we'll run the tape back. You said trigger.
Run the tape.
Yeah.
Run it back.
I know. I heard it. I know. I don't gaslight me.
Did I say
Listen, I'm an expert on all the little games and shit.
I think I said
Yeah, no.
okay, what did you say though?
When something is triggering.
Yeah.
So individuals, and again, it typically plagues younger individuals, people in their teens, their 20s.
Yeah.
Not so much older.
That's when you have insecurity.
That's when you're more
as
insecure.
you mature.
But if someone does something or says something and you've seen a pattern of this happening before, it absolutely does not mean the same pattern will ensue with the current individual that you're dating or that you're talking to.
With the individual, But if it's me repeating the pattern, then it's going to repeat.
Sure. Yeah. And that's a little bit different, which is what you mentioned.
Yeah.
So that's
So my thing was like, I was able to tap in because like when I used to do it, it was out of insecurity, like whatever I was doing with the failed relationships. Now I've matured. I still have the insecurities, but now I'm facing the insecurities. Like now I'm aware of these insecurities. So I can go, wait, do I want to let my insecurities make me do the same thing I used to do that ended in failed relationships? Or do I want to handle this and try to find the way through it? Like if I really do believe in this woman to be my partner, like she'll be understanding and she can help me through this.
Yeah.
And she like, so my girlfriend had been in like long term relationships before me. My longest relationship was my like high school girlfriend who was like 9 months, and you know that's high school. Like we would see each other on the weekends sometimes.
Yeah.
Like so like I wasn't used to this long term stuff. So like that's kind of like how I prefaced it, kind of because I was just like I'm ignorant. I don't really know. I just know I don't want to do the things that I've done in the past. So like here's where my mind has been this past weekend. I want to do better. I want to like learn how to be in a long-term relationship and like using her to like help coax me through. Like, is this normal to think about if I'm in a long-term relationship? Like, should I be kind of doing these things if I'm committed to a long-term? Like, did you do this when you were in long terms, or like, you know, is this normal, or do I need to fix this? Is this just a conversation thing, or is this like I need to have focused, direct action on my day-to-day life so that I don't go down this path? Like,
I'm almost more interested in kind of knowing if you have the self-awareness to understand that you're being insecure, or that something is an insecurity, where does that come from? What caused some of those specific insecurities?
I don't know. I know what caused a lot of my insecurities. It's a lot to do with like the middle child syndrome, with my brother just being like, you know, straight A student, great athlete, and my sister in dance and did modeling when she was a kid and all these things. And she's the youngest and she's the only girl. So like attention there. And then my brother being an athlete and I not having any athleticism or like whatever. And then, you know, kind of being implanted, I'm fat, I'm lazy, I'm like whatever. So like I know where a lot of my insecurity, like I guess the root of them, but I don't really know how they've manifested since.
It sounds like you felt a little bit of a lack of individuality in your family.
Yes. I mean, look at me. Like now I do a podcast. Like this is how I stand out. Like I'm the only individual in my family that does a podcast every week, you know? So like.
Well, I'm curious why you take that exact tone with it. It's certainly a pretty unique thing that you do.
What kind of tone did I take?
Like, well, now look at me. I do a podcast. I'm the one in my family does a podcast.
Well, I'm not going to, like,
it sounds like you're kind of bashing your own achievement a little bit.
I think a lot of greatness, a lot of great people have accomplished great things because of their insecurities.
Okay.
Like, that's why we try to conquer our insecurities by doing them. But back to the original point, like, I have an idea where a lot of the insecurities come from, but I am very self-analytical. And I tear down every thought that I have, especially like my thoughts about me.
Yeah.
And I try to identify anytime I have an insecurity. This is why I love comedy and I love being roasted. Okay. Because especially when we're talking about insecurities, like if you make fun of the thing that I know, like my hair loss, I don't get insecure about that anymore because I've been made fun of so many times, and I go, you know what? I actually don't care if I lose my hair, if I don't, maybe one day I'll go bald anyways, maybe I'll start shaving. I don't really know. I don't really care. That I'm not insecure about that. You can't offend me about that. But then every once in a while, like someone points out something specific about me, and I'm like, oh, I've never even thought. Like Gio commented the other day, like I have a twitch sometimes with my lips. Like I just move my lips a lot when we're just standing still watching TV, and I'm like, now when I go back and edit, I like pay so much attention to it. For the past couple months since he said it, like it has been a crazy insecurity of me. I like can't stand it. I like if I'm editing, I usually try to cut to different angles so that you don't see me doing that as much. But the more I've just even talking about it right now, when I go back and edit this video, I'm not gonna care as much. I'm gonna be like, yeah, I already do it. The world knows. Anybody who watches this now knows about that insecurity. Now it can't affect me as much. So I like to know what my weaknesses are. So now I can't be hurt by them. It's like how I've created my shield. Like, so I do have insecurities, but right now my insecurities, the things that actually, affect me, are the things that I don't know I have yet.
So just so that I understand, it sounds like you reference a shield. I'm not a therapist or anything like that, but it sounds like you've concocted this big suit of armor with a shield, or like let's imagine like a puzzle that puts together a suit of armor, and you're slowly finding all the pieces. And here's this insecurity that's a piece of the puzzle, and this insecurity, and this insecurity, and this insecurity, and you diligently work through various processes to come to terms with those insecurities, and it's just adding puzzle pieces to this suit of armor. And now you've made this almost entirely complete suit of armor that it's still somewhat penetrable. There's still a couple insecurities that you have yet to know about. Like Gio mentioned, what an asshole, by the way, about your mouth thing. I twitched too. Big deal. But there's another insecurity out there that you're not yet aware of that someone is going to bring up, and you're going to be like, God damn it, I do that. Then you're going to go through this whole process where you come to terms with it, and that's another little piece of the armor. But at the end of the day, you're still building this suit of armor.
So I've always phrased it as these are the weapons I wage against my demons.
Okay.
So starting with early insecurities, like my ADHD, like knowing how it pushes people away. I am a very intense person. I have that anxious attachment with just friends and stuff. So I'm in a conversation, I get really excited, and even if I'm talking to my mom or my sister or something. So now if we're talking about politics and I have all this intense, they think I'm passionate about the politic, but I'm not. I'm just excited to talk to someone. So I started to realize how that was pushing people away. But now, instead of just going, all right, I'm over that insecurity, I have that shield to block against that insecurity, I actually know what that is. And it's actually now my weapon that I can use. Because all right, so the high intensity is pushing, people away that are if I'm just standing in the kitchen with my sister, I don't need that level of intensity. But that's a cool thing to have. Where does it work well? Well, a sword's not going to work well on, against a U.S. Navy, officer with all his, U.S. Navy, Navy SEAL with whatever weapons he has, like guns and shit. Mm-hmm. But it would work really well in medieval things. So how can I create a medieval army? All right, do a podcast. That's where people can handle a big sword being swiped against them. How can I turn my insecurities into the weapon that allows me to, now let's talk about balding. All right, I'm going bald. I know that. So that, if I bring it into a comical setting, well, now I can tap into all right, you're going to come at me for being bald. Well, now I know that's going to bounce right off me. So now I have a comment about you. And I also know all of my insecurities are my insecurities, but they're pretty relatable. So now I can use this relatable insecurity about talking about going bald and how embarrassing that is, and relate to people and make other people laugh and help them conquer that little insecurity too. I've also learned that sometimes I get myself into trouble with this one, but I do a lot of people watching. I love people watching.
Yeah.
And I'll make fun of people all the time.
Okay.
Every time I've made fun of someone, especially when it's really specific, I'm just making fun of an insecurity that I see them do that I do.
Okay. So
certain ways, if my hat blows off, the way I kind of I don't just bend down and pick it up. I kind of pretend to itch my head and pick it up. I'll see someone do that in public. I go, that guy's insecure about his balding head. Because I know what that move is. So learning about my insecurities just kind of makes the world more fun. It's you don't have to be insecure about this. I just don't care about it anymore. So I see it in people. I don't know. I think I'm trying to explain 3 different points about the same insecurity talk.
I guess if we back up a little bit, you mentioned the intense way that you conduct interpersonal conversations, say with your sister. Mm-hmm. What that sounds like to me is a facet of individuality, which is something that you also explained not particularly feeling growing up with middle child syndrome that you referenced. So you're taking some individuality that you do have and kind of blunting it or muting it. And it's a source of your insecurity, but also the lack of individuality was another source of, you could say, insecurity growing up.
I like this concept of like I never tapped into that. Like,
oh my goodness! So you're gonna
even
make
like
this
today.
another little point of on your armor?
No. I never thought of like, oh, me being the eccentric middle child. Like I always talk about my middle child syndrome.
Yeah.
But really, at the source of it was I was seeking individuality.
And you have individuality, perhaps not the ways that you want or you think you should have. You don't have the athleticism of your older brother or the, gender, sex of your younger sister. I forget in the ways that she was individual. I don't know. Okay, thank God you guys laughed. I thought I was trying to be funny.
No, it was good. It was good. No, but it's also like on a lot of the recent episodes, I don't know how many you've listened to, but I know I've been talking about it a lot. It's been coming up a lot, is my overvalue. And it's my value I put on things like being genuine, authentic, just true to yourself. Mm-hmm. And I think you just helped me connect a dot that I was missing as to like, why do I put so much emphasis on the value of those traits in myself? Like, I don't care. Like, I don't only like people who are authentic or genuine. I like all people. Like, I have really close friends that are less genuine or less authentic, but I get along really well with them.
Yeah.
But I put a high standard on myself for always being genuine, authentic, direct, whatever. And I think it comes from individuality, because it's like it's been this forever search of who am I as an individual. And I think I have been subconsciously like battling that thought, like, who am I? I've had more like I remember going to a non-denominational church for a little bit and like seeking out who am I? Like that was my biggest like life like whatever conundrum.
Yeah.
And then I like forgot about it. I thought I like figured like as I did the podcast and everything, I'm like, I know who I am as I'm the podcaster individual. But like I think I continue to emphasize the genuine and authenticity of myself because I know deep down I haven't figured out who I am as an individual. So I thought that if I just go deeper on being genuine or just try to be genuine more, be more authentic, be more like whatever character or whatever, like the person I'm trying to be, where really it's just I can solve all that equation by just figuring out my individuality or just understanding that I already have individuality. And how do I witness my own individuality? I think is my biggest question right now. But what are we at? Hour 15?
Hour 25?
Hour 25.
How do you access your own individuality?
That's a great, we're ending on that. Plus I gotta run and use the bathroom. I lasted a whole episode this time. That's pretty good.
Not bad for an old man.
Ivan, I think we're gonna stick around in the studio a little bit longer. Okay. But you know, if you got anywhere, people can get in touch with you if you want them to. Let the camera know. Otherwise, dude, thanks for having you. Thanks for having me. Thanks for having you.
Thanks for having me.
You're welcome.
Welcome to my podcast. My name is wALiE.
I just got so nervous at the end. I don't want it to end. I got anxious attachment. Don't leave, Ivan.
Relax. I'm not going anywhere.
Oh, you want me to relax? Just how we started. Circle back. Ivan, what do you have for the people?
Radical Candor by Kim Scott, Just Work by Kim Scott. If you're in any kind of a managerial position, I would recommend reading it. If you're interested in improving communication skills and styles with anybody, I would also recommend reading it. It's also just a good read. Yeah, that was pretty much mainly the book. I'm not getting paid by Kim Scott or anything, but I really do like that book. I like the lessons in it. I'm interested in exploring more about your individuality next as well.
All right.
I also have to go to the bathroom. So.
Okay. Let's take a quick little pause well, guys, thank you for listening.
Yeah, I know.
Peace.
Can we relax now? I'm tired of sucking in.
Yeah.